Hello everyone and welcome to another NRL season review. Today we're going to be talking about the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, who finished in 13th position. We have done the bottom four and now we move closer towards the top 8 team. The reason I'm posting these videos more common now is being in Bali, and the Cowboys video was 3 weeks ago, so I've got 3 to catch up on. So you might get one more on the weekend for this week as well, and then we'll wait till next week. But anyway, the Bulldogs, they struggled this year, but they had a very good comeback. From the start of the year, everybody picked the Bulldogs for the spoon. I think they were paying $2 or something on Sportsbet. They lost 40-6 against the Warriors, as I spoke about, but the energy of what had happened had helped the Warriors, but they were showing dismal signs. But the Bulldogs really turned it around this year. I'll tell you what though, the Panthers, they moved to the Bulldogs. Sione Katoa, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, who I'll speak about in a minute. I think he was absolutely fantastic, found a lot of form. Christian Crichton and Corey Harawira-Naera, all moving from the Penrith Panthers to join the Bulldogs, and a lot of them on 3-year or more deals, which is big for the Bulldogs. They needed some big signings, in my opinion. They've got some young guns that have a lot of potential. I really particularly like Jack Cogger, and I think he can develop as a player as well. But Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, what a massive signing, an achievement for the Dog. Nick Meaney as a player is fantastic. I just didn't know if he was doing enough at fullback, and Dallin fills that role perfectly. He runs the ball, he's dangerous, and I love watching the way he plays. So I spoke briefly about Jack Cogger, and I think Jack Cogger and Lachlan Lewis have a little bit to learn, but they're both potential good players. I think Lachlan Lewis had a breakout season last year, but I think this year he was a little bit off. You can't completely blame him. It was due to injury. I got the honour to meet Lachlan Lewis and do an interview, so thank you for that. That was absolutely amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed that earlier in the year. I think the 2 best players for me though that stood out, one of them won the best and fairest award for the year in regards to sportsmanship after he went up after beating the Tigers, and I think Josh Jackson was very unlucky to even not get an Origin spot. I thought he was very in form. He was a very good forward all year. I don't think he was one of their best, but I forgot to mention that Dylan Napa moved from the Roosters to the Bulldogs as well. He wasn't too bad, but Nick Meaney, I love watching this kid. He is a fantastic player. I really want to get him on an interview, but it's going to be difficult. But he is born to be a winger. He could be a centre as well. He was a centre at the Newcastle Knights, I think. I'm pretty sure he was. But I really like the style of footy he plays. He gets the ball, runs it, and every time he gets the ball, he seems to score try. He's a freak at scoring try, and I can't wait to watch this kid develop. I've spoken about young guns, and they had a good win against the Tigers, 22-8. I think it was round 3, when they debuted Jayden Okunbor. And Jayden Okunbor, he didn't play much this year, much footy, but when he did, he was very good, especially at the start of the year. Now, I want to talk about this Storm and Bulldogs game at AAMI Park. The Bulldogs play very well at AAMI Park for whatever reason, regardless of what they finish in the season. And God, they played good here. They lost 18-16, so it can't be their best win. But I do think it is probably their best game. I really enjoyed this. Jayden Okunbor is a freak. They were able to contain the Storm as much as possible, and they only lost by 2 points, which at AAMI Park, that's a good effort. Normally the Storm run wild on you, but I thought the Bulldog, I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was a good match. I think it was round 4 or 5, and I thought it was good footy. And for a team that was struggling, the Bulldogs showed a lot against a pretty full-strength Storm. For me, the best win of the season for the Bulldogs is their 14-12 upset over the Cronulla Sharks. The Cronulla Sharks had this period after this where they started losing game, and for me the Bulldogs absolutely killed their confidence. Sean Johnson wasn't at his best, in my opinion, and I'll speak more about that in my Sharks season review. But God, were the Bulldogs onto him in this game, tackling him out, making sure they were shutting him down, performing great plays, running the ball, especially Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. It was 14 points to 8 at halftime, and I expected a high-scoring second half, but it was only the one try and no conversion from the Cronulla Sharks. So props to the Bulldogs here for this win. Also want to speak about Kieran Foran. Now, Kieran Foran is, in my opinion, he's been a good player, and he's playing some of the best footy in his career. But the issue is he keeps getting injured, and you can't afford to have that on your team. In my opinion, it's sad to say, but it would probably help the Bulldogs a lot if Kieran Foran was to retire or at least maybe go to junior grade. He has a lot of potential to be a player, but the injury gets to him. But I've got to say, when I watch him play, I love watching him play. He creates beautiful opportunities at 5'8", and he partners well with Lachlan Lewis as well. But it's just inconvenient that the injury happens so much. The Bulldogs beat the Rabbitohs, keeping them scoreless 14 points to 6. They were the second team to beat the Parramatta Eels at Bankwest Stadium. They had another win against the Tigers. God, they're their bogey team. And they also had a win against the Panthers, 16 points to 8. They were the giant killers. They were knocking teams out of the top 8. God, at the end of the season, the Bulldogs looked dangerous. And as I spoke about at the beginning of the video, they had a chance to make final, but a loss to the Broncos blew it 28 points to 6. They then beat the Broncos in the final game of the round, showing signs for next year, 30 points to 14. In conclusion, I think the Bulldogs, the Dogs of War, can be a very damaging side, and they showed a lot of resilience towards the end of the year, which they need to pick up on. I don't know whether they can make the top 8 next year. A lot of people think they can. They are beating top team. They managed to not beat the Roosters, but keep it 20 points to 12 after a thrashing of like 34 to 6 just a couple weeks earlier. But I think this team is very resilient. I really hope Kieran Foran can play. But he is injured again. But Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, and rumours of Latrell Mitchell coming, but I don't think it will happen. We'll have to wait and see. Looking forward to this team in 2020 progressing and hopefully meeting more of these great players.